live and I realized I had to put my title up. I'm here today to talk to you about how to look and feel fabulous in live video. Have you ever been asked to do an interview or a live video or maybe even a job interview? And it's going to be online, as many things are these days, and you wonder, what am I going to wear to look good? Hi, I'm Catherine Taylor, and I'm a video interviewer who loves to bring great stories to the world. And I've been doing that for a while now, and I've learned a few things along the way, and sometimes painful lessons, but hey, that's part of it. And today I'm going to try and give you a few tips and also a little mini fashion show. You'll see as we move along. Anyway, did you know that I think one of the first things to think about when you have to do an interview and you're wondering about what you're going to do, think about what is the context of the interview and look the part. Play the part, because half the battle is when you feel good and you feel you're appropriate. So if I'm doing an interview, well, just say a casual one about music or dance, obviously I'm going to have more of a flair to what I wear. But think about what you're going to be the guest for, what you're going to be talking about, and look the part. And looking the part is half of it. I mean, once you look the part, you start to feel it and it builds your confidence. And I've always found that sometimes having a role model in mind is helpful. I've used that technique myself in doing interviews when I first started and I was less confident. So, number one, look the part. And I just want to remind you as well that age is just a number. What should you wear and how old are you? I kind of feel that in today's climate and society, you can wear just about anything, kind of adapt it to who you are, what your personality is, and somewhat your age. I mean, if you're at a beach, you're going to be wearing appropriate attire, but it's going to be with the scene that you're in. So, look, age is a number. You can make anything work. Don't get hung up on that. Now, the next thing is pull it together long term. If you're just doing an interview and it's going to be a one of, this is not such a big deal. But if you're going to create your own channel or you're going to have a series of topics you're talking about or a series of interviews, think long term. What's the message you want to get out there? What do you want to look like? So that requires a little more thought and follow through. And I think it's always worth thinking about that. If it's something that you're going to be doing on a regular basis, you might want to think about your image. Great resources for that. Go to magazines. What I do, I take my camera. If I'm looking at a magazine, I used to pull sheets and tear sheets. I don't do that anymore. I take my camera, I take the photograph of the look that I like, and I have a file folder on my phone and I pop that in there and I draw from that, because there are some great magazines, and not necessarily Vogue, because some of those looks are probably not realistic to what you want to do, but there are certain magazines that you can find that they have some great looks in there. Just take a photograph and you can replicate it. Such a great and easy tip for pulling looks together, and works well for me, easy to do. Now, the next thing you want to do is consider your location and background. Where are you going to be? Are you going to be in a studio? Or are you going to be out in the woods? That has an impact on what you're going to choose to wear. It's advisable not to blend into your background if you're going to be great about in front of. Let's try that again. If you're going to be in front of a lot of greenery, well, maybe not wear green. So just give some thought to where you're going to be. This background behind me is quite light, and I feel like it affects my lighting. I'm tweaking this myself. I was used to having someone do this for me and look after it for me, but now I'm my techie as well. And so as I look at what I see, I did do makeup today, but I did a neutral palette, but I find that it's kind of flattens out with the light, but it can be your background. I will tell you that I've experimented with backgrounds, dark backgrounds and so on, and it really impacts how you come across. So play with that, have a look at that, figure out where you're going to be. If it's your own background, you have time to doctor it up and get it perfect and run some test videos and then figure out your makeup. There are videos for makeup that are online, and this is if you wear makeup. You can be entirely who you are, but contour and highlighting can do some amazing things for your face and for your confidence. So it's worth checking out a few videos, then decide. Don't say no. And as well, color is incredible. I have black on today. Black is a staple in everyone's wardrobe, but it's a color that I could never wear on television. I was always told it would throw off the camera balance. Black and white were out. So I'm experimenting a little bit with doing my own video. I have watched people wear black and I've watched them wear white and do it fairly successfully. I'm still working on that. But this is not permanent. Oh man, I'm warm. I'm doing this for fun. I told you there's going to be a bit of a fashion show. Okay. All right. I'm going to open this up a bit. So just look already. Just have a look already. I've kind of pulled the black back. And what kind of an effect does that have? I kind of like it. It opens it up a bit. It's not as austere as this. And just see what happens to my face if it doesn't warm up a little bit. I think it might, because there's something to do with black and cameras. Something to keep in mind. Okay, so black is a defining color, but you can do it with other bold colors. They don't necessarily have to be black. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to take this off. Thank heavens. It's been warm. It's been warm, but for the sake of even looking at it myself. Okay, this is a red orange. Okay, so how is this changing things? Just fix my collar there. I'm already seeing some more color come into my face. You're out there, see if you agree. So that would be possibly what they're talking about with these dark images and certain shades that just wipe you out. But I'm already seeing more definition in my face. And this is a red. It's an orange red, which works better with my coloring. You can get into different shades of red. There's blue reds and orange reds and so on. And if you're going to wear red, you want to find one that works with you. Now, it's a hot color. And I'll never forget, years ago, I was doing a fitness show many years ago in Halifax. And, we were always trying to figure out what we're going to wear. So I had this, what I thought was a fabulous outfit with red tights. I'm telling you, for the rest of my life, I will never own a pair of red tights because they were so hot on camera. I looked like my legs were all you saw. So that has made me very careful with the color red. It stayed with me a long time. But anyway, I'm giving this to you so you can have a look at some different colors. Whew, okay, one more layer is coming off. I might live in the Great White North, but not inside the house. Okay, here we go. Now, blue, always a fantastic color on camera in general. It's similar to black, but it's a little richer. And depending on your coloring, again, you can check out the color blue. But I think the darkness of this, again, is kind of wiping out some of the tones in my face. I'm going to look up on that more, but I do know that it can definitely have an effect depending backgrounds, and cameras can only do so much. You got to work with them. Anyway, so here's blue. What is that changing? It's a pretty friendly color, a bright color, and still a defining color. And there's so many shades of blue. Okay, we're going on with the fashion show. Now I'm down to, okay, I'm in my palette here, being a redhead. Now I want to talk a little bit about, I'm just going to bring it up on the screen. Here we go. Solids are incredible, patterns are not. Now, that's a rule you can play with. I mean, you've seen the solids and you know how they look. Patterns kind of get a little less defined on camera. And depending your background, again, you don't want to blend in, and depending your pattern. I have worked with patterns that were more holographic. I remember one time wearing a dress that I loved. I thought, fabulous dress. I wore it. All I could see the whole time was my pattern moving. I never wore the dress again. That was the end of it. So when it comes to patterns, keep in mind, experiment with the size, the colors, how much graphic design is in there. It really is something to keep in mind. And finally, Whew, getting down there if I can get this off. And this is super cash. But I would never wear this. And I'll tell you why. Because of this. This is a reflective tone and it's right up around my face. And I feel like as it's not a pattern exactly, but I feel it's a detail that takes away from me and doesn't generally add a whole lot. So, you can wear a casual t-shirt depending on your topic and how comfortable you are, but I would watch for things like this. So you got to check out necklines, fabrics. Certain fabrics may cause you to sweat. And if you're nervous or have butterflies at all, not a good choice. So synthetic fabrics, they're tricky. And fabrics that are very, very bulky and loose fitted, again, not always a great choice on camera. I find that better fit, better cut always seems to look better and gives you more confidence. Now, look, these are my guidelines that have worked for me. And honestly, I think any kind of guideline is there to be broken, played with. Don't be afraid to play with it, but I'm giving you some things to think about. Now, next on that list is makeup. It's a hard yes from me if it's you. And the strange thing about makeup is you have to use sometimes more of it. Certainly with bright lights you do. So again, this is something you're going to have to play with. I'll see if I can get someone who knows more about that than I do. I mean, I certainly am reading a lot and experimenting with my own makeup. And but maybe I can have a guest on who can talk a little more about makeup specifically for video, because I would enjoy that too. But I feel it does add to the whole image and picture, and I vote for it. But if you're not a makeup person, that's okay too. And jewelry, something to keep in mind. I always think less is better, and certainly not things that, for example, I've shown you how this takes away. I have a bit of jewelry on here, but if it was something big that reflected light, I'm not always sure that you need a lot of it. And I think if you do have one significant piece, keep it to one. Bangles are not great, things that jingle, jangle. And I'm just using a general mic here, but if I had a clip on, you don't want anything near a mic because it does pick up sound and you do hear it. So my rule has generally been to keep the jewelry very simple and clean. And finally, and this one's really important. This video world is like we're from the waist up and it's great. We just throw something on and jump on a meeting. But my point is, who knows when someone asks you to get something and you forget that on the bottom you're wearing your pajama pants or your workout shorts. So I feel that you should wear bottoms when you're doing an interview. And for example, if I were to get up, well, I have them on anyway. Trust me. But that's a tip because there have been embarrassing moments when people have just simply forgotten or they're on a Zoom call. So that's my advice. Get the bottoms on. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed getting some of that clothes off. I'm warm enough now. And if you have any questions, be sure to send them along. I'd be happy to do my best to answer them. And hopefully I've challenged you a little bit on giving some thought to what to wear when you're going for an interview on live video or you're doing your own show. Have a great rest of your day. And if you enjoyed this, I'd sure appreciate it if you could like and share. And if you're on YouTube, hit that little button to subscribe. And there's a bell there that'll remind you when I have new content coming up. So I will sign off now from Newfoundland, Canada. I'm Catherine Taylor. Have a great evening. And it's been fun to have this